Hi everyone, it's James here from the Studio Rats.
And Paul from the Studio Rats.
We're here still at your gaff.
At my gaff.
And yes, bass, but we're actually talking about something, quite frankly, far more boring.
Probably the dullest studio piece of equipment that you can buy.
But one that can make a huge difference.
Huge difference, absolutely.
DI boxes.
DI boxes, yeah.
They are dull,
it's a thing
interference boxes.
Yeah, if you need one, the first thing you do is to try and find the cheapest one that you can find.
Yes.
Which is not always a good idea.
No, definitely not. So we thought we'd just talk a little bit about DI boxes and stuff. And we have some of my collection from the newest, the lovely new Warm Audio Active DI.
Yeah.
It's very nice. We also have probably my first DI box, an MTR DI-3.
That is the one that you see just everywhere, isn't it?
Yes.
You see them everywhere.
The one that you see in kind of the pro world is the BSS one.
Sure.
I had one. I think I lost it on a gig, but somehow gained a microphone. So I was kind of quids in. And then...
Right. I cannot believe he's even brought this into my studio. Man, that is a shocker.
It's an Ultra-DI DI-20 from Behringer. There is a place for these, and I'm not going to say where. This is a tester, a get you out of trouble.
Is it?
I bought this when I was a student because I needed a stereo DI. They do a thing, but hopefully, as you'll hear,
I mean, there's a definite price difference, isn't there?
yes.
So anyway,
I think this was about 20 quid back in the day.
Word, wow.
And I think that was about 70 quid back in the day.
And what are these now?
We'll put it up on the screen
Yeah.
in UK pounds because, quite frankly, my phone's over there and I can't check. But they're not expensive,
Right.
but it is a quality piece of kit. Now, why bass? Is because probably in the studio, bass is one of those things you're going to just go, stick a DI on it.
It's true.
Bass and keyboards, perhaps.
I still think a DI bass sound is always my recording choice.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds...
Yeah, sounds great.
It sounds like a bass. There's no amp colour in there.
Mm-hmm.
These particular DI boxes, they're active, which means they require phantom power.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I suppose at this point, we should probably say, why on earth would you use a DI box? Why would you not plug into the line in and put on the amp?
On the interface.
On the interface.
That is a good point. Go on then.
So, there are a great many interfaces out there that do have instrument inputs. The Apollos have a high Z, high Z, ZZ meaning impedance, which is what an instrument outputs.
Yeah.
What this will do is it will convert from an unbalanced high impedance signal into a balanced low impedance signal, which in the real world means the cable runs can be longer, you don't get signal drop. So for example, ideal world, I think we've got, what, a 2 meter cable on this?
Yeah.
2 meters to the DI box and then 30 meters off to wherever you need to be.
Yeah.
So if you're in a studio where they've got cable runs through the walls and stuff like that, you want to get balanced as early as possible.
Yeah.
Why do you need balanced cables? The theory being the cable has 3 connections, a plus signal, a minus signal, or an out of phase signal, and a ground. The theory being that the interference, be it electrical or electromagnetic, whatever, will get onto both the plus and the minus at the same time and cancel each other out so you don't get any. Wake up. It's relevant. It's relevant.
Yeah.
It's important. But this test is all about sonics, how it sounds and stuff. So there's a few goodies on here. We can route off to amplifiers directly through. That's one of the cool things about a DI box.
Absolutely.
You put the DI box in the way of before the amp. You then have a link off to your amplifier. This one has a variable pad on it.
Yeah, that's
from
good. That.
-3 all the way down to -30, I think. I think it says on there.
Man's been doing his homework.
We've got ground lift, so if you're getting loops or if you're getting kind of buzzes or nasties, flick the ground lift. Always start with the ground lift out, so grounded.
Why is that?
Because ground is there for a reason, as in to discharge any problems. So if your amp is faulty, for example, a valve amp where you're dealing with hundreds and hundreds of volts, thousands of volts, it's going to, put it like this, you won't need to file your nails for a little bit if there's too many volts coming back to you, if there's a problem.
And it has happened before where people have actually been killed from...
Yeah, from dodgy valve amps.
Absolutely.
So always have the ground engaged. Only put the ground lift in, break the ground connection if you're having a problem.
Yeah.
There's phase invert on that, or...
There is.
We should technically say it's polarity inversion.
Yeah.
So that becomes that. And it's just a really well-built, lovely piece of kit. Thanks to Nova Distribution in the UK for sending it to me. Yummy. So this is how it sounds.
Very nice.
Day one, week one base.
Yeah, I mean, if I was going to buy a DI box, that's nice.
It's chunky. It's
nice.
solid.
I like things that look nice in the studio. That looks nice. It sounds great. It's great quality. That's what I go for.
We're running it into a Phoenix Audio Mic Pre, which is a kind of
Neve sort of style.
Neve sort of sound. Great box.
Yep.
So let's now play through the MTR.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt the video. I just wanted to say, if you guys are getting anything out of this video and you'd like to see more videos from the Studio Rats, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you click on that notification bell, you'll be notified as soon as a new video comes out. Right, let's get back to it.
So our second contender,
The James Ivey DI.
Yes, the Ivey DI.
Is this like your endorsed DI? It's got your name on it.
No, that's called I don't want my gear to get nicked on gigs.
On gigs, right.
It's even got my initials on it in Tipex.
Oh, it has. Look at that.
In Tipex.
It's exquisite. Yeah.
And prizes for what W's for? Steady.
Right.
So let's hear it. Let's hear it because we can.
There is a definite difference. There is a definite difference between this and the warm. And I mean, again, that's all about clarity. Mm-hmm. And it's got all the bottom end. It's got everything. It's like full frequency. This one again, it's
not as punchy. It's not as much top end.
No.
It hasn't got the bottom end. It hasn't got the roundness of sound.
Yeah, I mean, it's very usable.
It's an active DI again, so it's drawing phantom power. All the DIs we're using are running off phantom power. The Behringer and this one will take a 9-volt PP3 battery.
Right.
The warm does not. It requires phantom power.
But in effect, this is a studio box, isn't it?
I wouldn't have a problem with that going live on a gig. I don't think if it was on a higher stock, it would look like that for very long.
It's lovely.
It's a lovely piece of kit, and it sounds like it. It's a quality piece of kit. The thing I like about that,
Does that?
A, it does that, but B, all the controls are nearly behind this kind of metal shroud.
Sure.
So for me, if they'd actually made the outer a little bit bigger to totally encapsulate the pots and the switches, that would have been a moment of genius.
I completely agree.
Whereas actually the MTR is the case. All the switches are behind the kind of the steelwork. You can see that one's been around the block several times.
Yeah. I think I might need to wash my hands after touching this.
It sounds all right though.
Yeah, sounds great.
It sounds perfectly...
It sounds fine. That sounds amazing. That sounds fine. But again, why would you want to go into a studio and not capture everything?
Yeah.
You don't want to sort of... I mean, I wouldn't want to compromise. For the price difference of the two, I would definitely be buying that.
So, round 3 of our little test.
It's beautiful.
It has seen some action. It's been on stage lots of times. And to be fair, in a non-critical listening environment like a stage, for keyboards, where you're not so worried about bottom end, perhaps, well, let's just hear it.
Okay, so what I'm hearing from that, it's definitely lacking the clarity of the warm, and it's distorting on certain.
Yeah,
notes.
I mean,
Yeah. So yeah, I mean the warm's got a lot more control over it. I think. I mean,
it is a stereo DI box.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
theoretically,
yeah.
you can run stereo keyboards in, and that's what I've used it for, keyboards.
Right. Useful.
In a live environment,
Yeah.
where perhaps critical listening is not your first goal, it's a suitable tool. Just about.
It's suitable.
Just
I
about.
I think. Yeah. Let's.
I am so glad we're back to this one because, quite frankly, it feels different. There's a.
It's like when you plug into a valve amplifier. There's a feel difference when you plug into, you know, an amp sim or a valve amp. It's more responsive, isn't it?
This is.
I mean, I can hear it. I can hear the difference when you're playing that. You can hear the immediacy of this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a kind of a dig in.
Yeah.
You're not getting grit, you're getting tone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas you don't get that with those two.
I agree. If you did get something out of this video, it'd really help us if you like and subscribe and ring that bell, and you'll be notified of any future videos that come out from the Studio Rats. I'm Paul from the Studio Rats.
I'm James from the Studio Rats, and we will see you next time.